San Antonio starts right now.
This morning, 97 people are now listed as missing in Kerr County. Why that number is considerably lower than the 161 people officials reported missing just a few days ago. Plus,
this morning, we're live in Kerrville at the Lima Street Bridge, where KSAT is continuing restoration and recovery efforts on many roads in the Hill Country. We spoke to KSAT directly about what that process takes to make sure that first responders and people that live here are safe.
Hey there, good morning. It is 5 a.m. on this Tuesday, July the 15th.
And thank you for joining us. We have Patty back in the building again after such a fantastic job covering what you did last week. Thank you for all of your services for what you put into that. But yes, we got team coverage still going on today for the Hill Country floods. And right now we're looking at meteorologist Justin Horn. He is checking out the radar for what we're looking at today.
And believe it or not, guys, more heavy rain this morning. This time, it's west of San Antonio. That's where it was yesterday, but a little further west this go around. So we're talking Uvalde up to Rock Springs. Concan is getting some more heavy rain again, so I'll have to watch the Frio River, although most of the rain so far this morning has been to the west of that. In fact, this go around, it's been along the Nueces, and I've been watching those river gauges as well. So far, so good. There have been some rises, but I don't anticipate flooding along the Nueces, which is good. But at this point, basically every river basin in South Texas has seen some flooding rains within the last week. Pretty incredible to think about. So the heavy rain right now is starting to drift up towards the Camp Wood area. And we're seeing quite a few lightning strikes here. This is also drifting up towards Lakey. And if you'll notice, we're starting to get some rain pulling into western parts of Kerr County, so that is not a spot where we want to see more rain. It's not terribly heavy, but this could add insult to injury, and it seems like every day we've been dealing with this sort of thing. So this rain will continue to lift north. This flash flood warning that you see here for this area of heavy rain is going to go until 6:30 this morning. Avoid driving in these areas if you can. Low water crossings, no go. Because this will be another morning where we are seeing some flooding. As far as San Antonio is concerned, we do have a couple showers, but nothing that's very heavy. So just know that on your morning commute. There is the flood watch. That's going to go till 1 p.m. this morning. This is the outline of that flood, flash flood warning. Again, that goes until 6:30. Forecast for this morning here in San Antonio, 30% chance of some showers. We'll bring that rain chance down a little bit midday and then pop it back up during the afternoon with the daytime heating. We could see some more downpours developing. Okay, some drier weather's on the way, I promise. And we're watching what's going on in the tropics. More on that in just a couple minutes.
All right. Thanks, Justin. In our continuing coverage this morning, 97 people are now listed as missing in Kerr County, and that update came from Governor Greg Abbott. And as we said earlier, that number is considerably lower than the 161 people officials reported missing last Thursday.
Governor Abbott didn't give an updated death toll specifically for Kerr County, but he did share the newest statewide number, which is unfortunately now at 131. As for Kerr County, the latest time officials there updated the number of lives lost was on Sunday, and at that point, the death toll was 106. The governor did briefly mention the discrepancy in those numbers.
Those who are missing on this list, most of them, were more difficult to identify because there was no record of them logging in anywhere. And it was through information provided by a friend, a family member, co-worker, whatever the case may be, that they haven't been found.
And KSAT wants to remember those we lost in the catastrophic flooding so far. Officials are not confirming the identities of those who died, so our team has been gathering as much information as we can about those victims, and oftentimes that information comes from family members. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to read more about what we've learned about the lives lost.
Okay, so days after the heavy flooding did major damage in the Hill Country, KSAT crews are busy clearing out those roads and debris for the first responders and the people who live there in the hardest hit areas. And RJ Marcus is live in Kerr County with information on how those roads are looking and more of KSAT's operations. Good morning, RJ.
Yeah, good morning, Patty and Jaffney. And as Justin just mentioned, yes, we are starting to see some light rain out here in Kerrville. That's where we're at the Lima Street Bridge, where there has been a lot of work that has already been done. Basically, the before and after, some of the photos that I saw in the aftermath of that were just unremarkable to see. I mean, remarkably sad to see the amount of damage that had been done out here in the Hill Country. So again, we're at the Lima Street Bridge. This was an area that was completely flooded on the morning of July 4th. An estimated 20 to 25 feet of water covered this entire area. And again, this place where I'm standing right now was fully covered with water during that morning and for the rest of the hours throughout the rest of the day there. Now, TxDOT moved in right away to check the bridges, the structures, and also the columns. That was their first priority when it came to some of these bridges and overpasses in the Hill Country. And while that was deemed to be safe days after the flooding event, it was shut down for a few days, but again, deemed to be safe. There were slabs of concrete completely stripped off the bridge, and the upper railing was completely damaged as water rushed through this area.
We did see a lot of damage on the top railing, which you see up here, the bent railing. A lot of debris was stacked along that, and I know you can't see it now because we've removed a lot of that, but we had pretty high stacks of debris that were attributed to the damage that you see on that rail.
Yeah, guys, I mean, literally massive tree stumps are still over here by the river. Again, we're at the top of the Lima Street Bridge. So as we get the sun to come up a little bit here, we're going to give you another look at that in just a little bit. But Charles Benavides also gave us an update on Highway 39 and FM 1340 in Ingram and Hunt. He said as of today, they are estimated, those two specific roadways, estimated to be closed for a while now. And they estimated that about a mile total of the entire stretch of highway, especially along 39, got completely washed away. Let's hear more from him.
On 39, we got pockets of road that do have a pavement that's washed off that we're in the process of fixing. And 1340, we got a lot of culverts that had washout around them. The amount of water that went through there and the velocity that it went through, it really did some damage to our road that we really hadn't seen before.
Yeah, guys, just chunks of pavement that made their way miles down the Guadalupe River, and that's been part of the whole cleanup process out here. Now, Charles told me that those two specific highways there, 39 and FM 1340, again, likely staying closed at least for the rest of the month to the general public. It'll be open for first responders and folks that live there. But the Lima Street Bridge, right here behind me, actually reopened last week, but there's still a ton of debris, and they're asking folks that come out here to not walk underneath the bridge for their own safety or on the sidewalks at this time. In fact, the sidewalks are closed right now to go over the Lima Street Bridge. So we're going to have a lot more, including a look at really just another stunning sight, twisted metal that was found along Highway 39. We're going to have that coming up in just a little bit. Live in Kerrville, RJ Marquez, KSAT 12. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thanks, RJ. And Texas, your generosity has been overwhelming. I got a chance to talk to volunteers at Cross Kingdom Church in Ingram, and your donations right here making it straight to those who need it the most. The entire church is full of water, new clothes, and cleaning supplies. They are a distribution center for those in Ingram and Hunt. Their focus has been on cleaning supplies, chainsaws, and wheelbarrows that victims are using to clean up. But their call for donations is starting this week, will be focused on tools to rebuild.
Now we're really thinking forward of the rebuild stage. So building material, tools, anti-mold solution, all of these homes are going to need to be treated for anti-mold. So I'm trying to think ahead of the game of like, okay, what's coming up next?
Okay, and listen up. They are fully stocked on water, diapers, and used clothes. So please don't bring any of those items to them.
And speaking of giving back, Texas communities continue to come together and lift the most vulnerable in the wake of the devastating floods. And we're talking about Twin Peaks. They're on that list. Today, the restaurant will donate a portion of the proceeds to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund, supporting displaced families, first responders, and long-term recovery efforts at locations across Texas. And then today, Papa John's jumping in. Papa John's Pizza will donate 100% of profits from every order placed in the region to support the flood relief efforts.
And here at KSAT, we and KPRC, our sister station in Houston, our parent company, Graham Media Group, along with Gray Media, have united to launch a donation drive called Together for Texas to help flood victims. You can scan the QR code on your screen to donate. So far, thanks to your generosity, the campaign has already raised more than $803,000.
And happening today, our KSAT community partners are holding a Together for Texas phone bank to help with the Kerr County flood relief effort, happening from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. All right, to some of the news of the day. A man is in jail in connection to a double murder that happened in an H-E-B parking lot. That was 49-year-old Lorenzo Aleman being escorted by San Antonio police officers. Investigators say that he's accused of shooting his ex-partner and another man, and he's facing charges of capital murder. The deadly shooting happened just before 11 Sunday night at the H-E-B on South New Braunfels Avenue. That's what police say. They found a man and a woman dead from gunshot wounds. Officers say that Aleman ran off after shooting the pair and was arrested about 5 hours later. SAPD says that witnesses played a huge role in helping identify the suspect. We also want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that if you or someone that you know are going through a domestic violence situation, you don't have to suffer in silence. We got that QR code on your screen ready to go with a list of free resources.
All right, let's take a look outside right now. RJ is in Kerr County, so we're keeping an eye on things out here. This is at Brawning Lake, and things are looking pretty good out there. Military Highway at 1604. Traffic moving along very nicely out there. At 151 and Loop 410, you can also see things are moving along nicely.
Photojournalist Alex Gomez is out and about right now. Alex, what's going on?
Japhanie, good morning. Right now, I started my drive in the heart of downtown, I-37 northbound, and right now I'm not tracking any incidents across the city, Japhanie.
All right, that's good news. Hopefully it stays that way. Thanks so much, Alex. We'll check in with you later on in the show.
Right outside with live cam, it's 512, 79 degrees this morning. Just got word that we're going to get a new flash flood warning issued, and there it goes. It just got issued for parts of Kerr County, Real County, and Edwards County. We're going to show you where the heavy rain is headed coming up.
A major Google merger, Meta's crackdown on copycats, and TikTok's parent diving into mixed reality. The big tech headlines you need to know next.
And I am live in Kerrville this morning where, as Justin just mentioned, we are starting to see some rain, but you'll definitely want to stick around for this next story that we have coming up, because when disaster struck, first responders rushed to save lives, but who's helping those heroes heal? Up next, meet the woman bringing comfort to the Hill Country's hurting hearts. Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio on this Tuesday morning. We are live in Kerrville this morning where we are seeing a little bit of rain make its way through our area right now over by the Lemos Street Bridge. So when the floods took over the Hill Country on that Friday morning, July 4th, first responders ran towards the crisis. Now, some of those are counselors ready to take on the task of obviously caring for the community's mental health. Our Courtney Friedman met with a counselor who has been out in the field leading a team in the Hill Country since day one. Here's her story.
Are you from here? Through the storm of July 4th and every day since, professional counselor Kelly Harris has been prioritizing the mental health of every person in her Hill Country community.
What is the toughest thing that you've encountered?
The hardest part is definitely seeing the families. I know we still have many that are missing, and that is part of just the not knowing. And then on the other side, when people do know, it's a different type of grief.
Kelly has worked with the Ecumenical Center for a decade in Sutherland Springs, Uvalde, and other crisis situations, offering this type of help for free to anyone.
We'll get something that says, hey, we need you at a morning briefing for our first responders. And then we'll have people say that we need to go to a pet place for volunteers that are working with pets, and they just need someone to talk to.
A lot of her work is with first responders.
The first responders are really busy right now, and so we're supporting them as needed, but we're also telling them we're here with you for the long haul.
In an exclusive interview with the team overseeing river recovery operations in Ingram and Hunt, Fredericksburg Fire Marshal Reagan Rabke and Fire Chief Lynn Bizzle admitted mental health is a challenge.
The department members here, they lost loved ones in this tragic situation. We want to try to make sure that when we leave here, that they're taken care of.
They see this day in, day out, and it does take a toll over time, and we're trying to provide them everything they need.
One of the things that we distribute is for our first responders.
I recognize that. We made some of these at the Ecumenical Center on Monday in San Antonio. I love to see you giving them out.
It's great. There's towels, there's socks.
This is your trauma as well. How do you take care of yourself?
As a clinician, I have a team that supports me. I have coaches, I have a therapist. I go to church, I have my faith, and I sleep when it's time to sleep.
She knows it's crucial because she has vowed to be here for the long haul.
This is my community. I live just down the road, and so this community is going to need people that can help for a long time.
All right, 5:18 right now. We're looking at our traffic conditions on the roadways, and at this time, we are crash free. Checking out TxDOT right now. We're looking at a couple construction zones, which you guys may have seen it if you're driving along, happening right there, I-35 and Laredo Street. They got two of the left lanes blocked. Construction happened at I-10 and Zool Road, got the right lane blocked, and then I-35 and Loop 410, they have a right lane blocked there. But again, all construction areas, no crash areas. 1604 and Redland Road, you saw right there, everything is looking clear.
All right, guys, let's go to the authority radar, and this is the latest this morning. We have some new flash flood warnings that we need to address. So we've got one here. This is a big area, right? So that's where we had heavy rain earlier. I'll go ahead and put the radar into motion for you, and you can see how everything's kind of flowing up to the north and kind of the northeast. So a couple of areas of concern. Going to be around Lakey and Concan areas that had flooding yesterday, of course, along the Frio. And now we're starting to get some heavier rain again. A lot of lightning strikes, too, so this is going to be electrical. It will be loud for those of you watching from Lakey and Camp Wood this morning and then down towards Concan. The other issue, and they just issued a flash flood warning for areas here across northern Real, Edwards, and western parts of Kerr County. And this is going to go until 8:15 this morning. I'm going to go ahead and pause it so we can see that warning a little bit better. So several more hours. And now we're starting to get some development in Kerr County, which, of course, problematic. It feels like this has happened every morning, but here we go again. And the numbers have been pretty staggering. Coming up later in the show, we'll look at some of those rainfall totals over the last month, and it's been nothing short of incredible. But the heavy rain this morning that we were seeing across parts of Kinney County, that's kind of coming to an end. It's mostly light. It's going to be this cluster right here, which thankfully is moving off to the north, that could cause some issues. I did want to show you the Nueces River. Again, another river basin that's taking on a lot of rain. Forecast is for it to move into action stage, which really isn't a big problem, but I show you this just to let you know that Nueces also rising. I'm going to keep an eye on the Frio this morning, but you want to talk about every single river basin, major river basin here in South Texas has taken on some flooding within the last several weeks. I mean, just incredible after years and years of drought. Flooding will be possible in that area you see in yellow today. So notice San Antonio is not included, but I would say anywhere west of Kerrville, Rock Springs, Uvalde Junction, especially early in the day, we could see some flooding. This is the Futurecast, and it does show that rain kind of dying down a little bit this morning. Let's hope that is the case. Then as we get into the afternoon, we'll see some of those pop-up downpours try to redevelop. Even here around San Antonio, can't rule it out. We've seen that last couple of days. But the good news here, after today, rain goes away. We're going to get some drier conditions coming up. So 30% chance rain here in San Antonio, which, by the way, we are seeing a couple of showers this morning. Then a 20% chance midday, and then we'll bump it back up to 30% chance this afternoon with a high temperature right around 92. We've got to talk about the tropics real quick, too, because we have a little system here on the east coast of Florida that will be working across the Gulf. The waters here, mighty warm. We have a decent setup for some development. But here's what I'll tell you. We don't know if this thing is actually going to have enough time to develop. And B, if it does, latest spaghetti plots take this to the north into parts of the southeast and Louisiana. At this point, I don't anticipate a lot of impacts here. Can't completely rule out some moisture being thrown in our direction Friday and Saturday, but I think for the most part, we will be unaffected. So the extended forecast here, 96 coming up tomorrow, 95 Thursday. Very small rain chances Friday and Saturday should we get some moisture thrown in our direction. Otherwise, it's hot and drier.
All right, Justin.
All right, thanks, Justin.
It is 5:22 right now, 79 degrees outside.
Big tech shakeups, a Google merger on the way, Meta targets content thieves, and TikTok's parent steps into mixed reality. We've got what you need to know next.
In today's Tech Bites, Google has confirmed plans to combine its Chrome operating system and Android into a single platform. That's according to Tech Radar. The move is expected to allow for faster feature development and improved functionality on tablets. Facebook cracking down on creators for stealing content from other users without permission. Punishments include temporarily demonetizing pages and making the posts of repeat offenders visible to fewer people. Meta says more than 500,000 creators have already been penalized this year. And TikTok's parent company is set to be creating its own brand of mixed reality goggles. The new offering from ByteDance is reportedly being built by a VR startup and will weigh less than 5 ounces. The device is set to compete with new products coming from rival Meta. Those are your Tech Bites. I'm Allison Kosick. I hope you have a great day.
It is 5:26 right now, 79 degrees outside.
And good morning to everyone. We're live in Kerrville at the Lima Street Bridge where, of course, the cleanup is still underway. There were chunks of road, parts of bridges that were completely washed away during the July 4th floods. We're going to check in with KSAT and show you a part of debris that was pulled from Highway 39 that shows the extent of the damage. Good Tuesday morning to everyone out there. Thank you very much for being with us this morning as we continue our coverage of the Hill Country floods. And we are live at the Lima Street Bridge in the city of Kerrville. Now, yesterday I spoke to a gentleman here when we were getting the video and the interview for our story, and he told me that he was heartbroken after seeing what had been done here, just the damage and devastation and the debris that was left behind. He mentioned that he had actually caught his first fish with his grandson here, and this was an area that he still has very fond memories of, but it is definitely very heartbreaking to see exactly what has gone on in this part of Kerrville and other parts of the Hill Country. And we have heard several stories like that from several people that survived and obviously others that have unfortunately lost friends and family members. So I wanted to get a perspective, though, of the damage that was done to the roads and the bridges. So I spoke with KSAT District Engineer Charles Benavides about their restoration efforts immediately following these catastrophic floods. And before we came out here, he wanted to show us a strip of twisted guardrail that was recovered from Highway 39, showing the force of the water that morning.
This one in particular, that looks more like a towel that got wrung. One end was basically fixed. When the water started to kind of go through the low water crossing, it basically just, the force of the water twisted it over and over until you got what you see here, which in the 20 years that I've been here at KSAT, I haven't seen that happen before.
That's right. Charles said that they have had 4 times the amount of KSAT personnel on the ground here, basically helping repave roads and also checking on the structural integrity of some of the bridges and overpasses. Now, this one here, the Lima Street Bridge, piles of debris, massive giant trees just jammed underneath the bridge days after that flooding event. It reopened last week, but Charles compared this operation to covering Hurricane Harvey.
The velocity and speed and how quickly this happened, versus a hurricane that, you typically can anticipate. You don't know exactly where it's going to hit, but you kind of have an idea of what to expect for, and there's some time to kind of prepare for that. This one felt like it kind of came on us pretty quick.
Now, Charles told us that the priority right now is obviously restoring roads. That is the priority, and repaving areas that were completely washed away, especially in Hunt and Ingram along Highway 39 and FM 1340. Those two specific roads will still be closed to the public for at least a few more weeks. It is open to first responders and folks that live in that area. But we'll continue to follow the very latest out here in the Hill Country. Reporting live this morning from the Lima Street Bridge in Kerrville, RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News. We're going to send it back to you guys.
All right. Thanks so much, RJ, for being out there this morning for us. And we want to say good morning to all of you. It is 5:32 out there.
Yeah, I do have a quick question for you, Patty, because you were there at the start of all of this when it broke out on the 4th and seeing the destruction there and then kind of seeing what it looks like today. You know, from your perspective, how are things progressing?
Well, you know, when you first get there and you're seeing the damage, it's jaw-dropping. And then you drive down a little further and it's everything that you see is just, it's incredible. You cannot believe it. Things are looking a little better when it comes to the cleanup. They've pulled some of that debris out of the river and they started creating piles. So it's starting to take shape, that process.
Okay. Well, we wish, obviously, our hearts are going out to that community as they continue to rebuild. You're tracking more rain.
Unfortunately so, yeah. And just going to Patty's point there, keep in mind, too, this was a 100-mile track of damage. When you consider that along that river, this wall of water traveled such a long distance. So there is going to be unfortunately, months and months of recovery here. But you're right. We've got more rain this morning, if you can believe that. And it is starting to leak into Kerr County here, which is, again, concerning. We still have that river warning, by the way. That was issued yesterday for the Guadalupe because we had a little bit more rain there. And look, this is not heavy rain. On a typical day, we would not issue, or there would not be flash flood warnings issued for this. But just any little additional rainfall at this point, because the soils are so saturated, does cause a few issues. So what we have here, we have a flash flood warning. This is going to go until 6:30 this morning, so another hour for parts of Real, northern Uvalde, and then we have this new flash flood warning that's going to go into 8:15 for northern Real, western parts of Kerr and Edwards County. And these are all areas that we will watch so very closely, especially around the Kerrville area. We are starting to get a little bit of rain coming down around Hunt and Ingram, areas that do not need any extra rain. And this is only going to hamper recovery efforts, unfortunately, for those working on that this morning. I do want to take a look at the rain here around San Antonio. We do have a couple of showers that have developed around Bernie. Not seeing a ton here around San Antonio, but the possibility is there to see a little bit of rain this morning. So our forecast calls for 30% chance of rain here in San Antonio early, 20% chance midday, and then a 30% chance again this afternoon with a high temperature right around 92. As promised, we're going to take a look at some of those monthly rainfall totals, which are pretty jaw-dropping, coming up here in just a couple minutes, guys.
How long is it going to take? You know, who knows? You know, I think we'll still go strong for another month or two, up to maybe 6 months, winding down.
And that was Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha giving a timeline on how long it could take to find those who were missing. It's one of the updates that Kerr County commissioners gave about the challenges from the 4th of July floods. The sheriff says that hundreds of volunteers have come to help, but not all are registering with officials.
The biggest problem we're having are our unsupervised volunteers. But we don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing.
Okay, and so although the unsupervised volunteers are causing frustrations for officials on the ground, it's been clear there is an outpouring of support and people wanting to help find others. And this morning, a father, a stepmother, and their toddler son have been located, but they did not survive. The names are Leonardo Romero, Natalia Venzor, and Carlos Romero. They're relatives of Leo Romero Jr. Last week, Myra Arthur met with him as he recovered in a hospital bed in Kerrville. The family's home was swept off its foundation on the morning of July 4th. Leo explained his father told him and his stepmom to climb onto the couch while the dad held his toddler high in the air.
How did you get out of the house and how did you survive this?
I remember something hitting me on the head. How I recall it is the roof fell, but just next thing I know, house is gone, so I'm just in the water.
And Leo was trapped in debris for 4 hours. He just turned 19 last week and has since been released from the hospital.
All right, let's take a look out with the traffic cams real quick. If we're looking at TransGuide traffic, if you look at your screen, it says US 281. Boulevardy looking great, 281 and Evans Road. You too are clear again at this time. We are seeing crash-free conditions from this perspective, but let's get out to the roadways with photojournalist Alex Gomez. Alex, where are you located? What are you seeing, man? How's your Tuesday going?
The Tuesday's going pretty good, Japhanie. Good morning, and right now I'm on the northwest side. Now, no crashes to report, but I did see some wet roads over here on the northwest side, especially around the area of 1604 and I-10, and now coming down I-10 towards the medical center. So just heads up on this area. Everywhere else looked to be pretty dry, so in case I see more wet roads, I'll let you know where they're at, Japhanie.
All right, Alex. Thanks so much, man.
Outside with live cam, good report there by Alex, and we'll give you a radar update. We'll show you where the rain is here around San Antonio. We're also going to take a look at water temperatures in the Gulf. Reason being, we have a storm system that could develop there in the next few days. We'll show it to you coming up.
Good Tuesday morning to everyone out there, and welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio. We are live in Kerrville this morning, continuing our coverage of the Hill Country floods at the Lima Street Bridge, a very popular spot here in the city of Kerrville, where behind me you still see barricades that are still up. The sidewalk is still closed over the bridge. So obviously a lot of activity still taking place here. And talking about activity, nonprofit organizations are helping out here. We're talking about the Mercy Chefs. They have been stationed in Ingram, ready to serve food, comfort, and care to those first responders and families who lost everything in last week's floods. But as they tried to make their way into Hunt yesterday, as we've been seeing, the road was shut down. So Mercy Chefs say that this is nothing that they've seen before. We're going to talk more about this coming up in just a little bit. Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio. So let's get to that story about the nonprofit organization Mercy Chefs. We've been following some of their activity here, especially in Ingram, where they are stationed ready to serve food, comfort, and care to all the first responders and families who lost everything in the Hill Country floods. But as they tried to make their way to help some of those families out into Hunt yesterday, unfortunately that road was shut down, as we've seen the case with many of these damaged roads in the Hill Country. Now, Mercy Chefs say that this is nothing that they have not, unfortunately, seen before, as more rain keeps stopping efforts. But in a community that is already hurting, the wait is pretty hard to get help to those folks. Despite those setbacks, the team is staying nearby, obviously tracking conditions, ready to roll out hot meals as soon as it was deemed safe to do so. And they are vowing to stay right here in Texas, no matter how long it takes to help those in need.
We're not going to leave here until we've done everything that we need to do. If that's 10 days or 10 weeks or 10 months, we'll continue to stay with the people here in Texas as long as we're needed.
Well, Mercy Chefs have responded to disasters across the country, and they say that the recent rain and also these closed roads is just going to be a pause for them. They are not going to stop. This is a mission that goes beyond food to help those in need. Now, let's talk about some other ways that you can also help those in need with some events in the San Antonio area. This Friday, Project Smash is hosting a Dance for a Cause, a community-driven event that aims to raise vital funds for those impacted by the floods. This special dance workshop is from 7 o'clock to 8:30 at night at the Smash Dance and Fitness Studio that is on Bandera Road, and they're asking for a $10 donation, with all proceeds benefiting the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. And here at KSAT 12, us and our sister station KPRC in Houston and our parent company Graham Media Group, along with Gray Media, have united to launch a donation drive called Together for Texas to help the flood victims out. You can scan the QR code that you see on your screen, also on our website, to donate for that. And again, we want to thank everyone for their generosity throughout this entire process. This campaign has already raised, get this, more than $803,000. So we want to keep those funds coming in to help the folks out here. And happening later this morning, our KSAT community partners holding together a Together for Texas phone bank to help with the Kerr County relief efforts as well. It's all happening from 9 o'clock in the morning to 7 p.m. this evening. All of the funds raised will go directly to the community and to on-the-ground efforts in some of the flood-affected areas throughout the Salvation Army. So obviously a lot of different things, guys, taking place, and a lot of help still coming to the Hill Country, where after being out here for the past day or so, they definitely still need it. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, RJ.
803,000. That is a lot of money, but
Incredible.
we know there's a lot more needed.
Yep.
But anyways, like first of all, let's see what's on the roadways.
Yeah, let's check out the roads out there right now. You're looking at Transguide 281 at Overlook Bay, 281 at Redland Road. Traffic is starting to pick up, but so far, no accidents to report. I-35 at Laredo. That is what you're looking at out there. At 37 at Alamo Dome. Again, 548, traffic starting to pick up out there. All right, let's go to Alex Gomez, who is on the road. Are you seeing any problems out there, Alex?
Yeah, not too many problems out here on the roadways this morning, Patty. This is going to be near the northeast side, 410 eastbound near Perrin Vital, but so far we're looking very good. Highways are up to speed across the city, Patty.
All right, thanks so much, Alex.
All right, let's go to Authority Radar. Actually, first, we are going to start with some video coming out of parts of Uvalde County and the Frio River. Boy, yesterday it was flowing and flowing in a big way. It did reach or close to major flood stage, moderate flood stage. You had to close some bridges, and thankfully there was not a lot of damage or anything like that, but a lot of precautions taken, obviously for good reason, considering what has unfolded over the last few weeks. That was yesterday. We're still going to be watching the Frio River today because we're still getting some rain along that river basin. Also the Nueces. So far, so good. But if that changes, we'll let you know. I want to show you San Antonio first very quickly because Alex did report some light rain there on the northwest side. Not really seeing much on radar. Doesn't mean it's not there. It's just likely in the form of some drizzle. We did see a couple showers kind of work along I-10 and 1604 there, but they were very quick moving. We're also noticing a few showers around Bernie. Those are lifting north towards Sisterdale. You get into the more consistent rain out here to the west, which again, not a great situation here around Kerrville. The rain has kind of been passing through for you, but it gets a little more heavy as you get out just south of Hunt and Ingram. This little cell is going to move north, cross over the Guadalupe, and again, that's just going to create more issues there as this rain feels like it's been every day there for Kirk County almost. We do have some showers, more steady showers. You get out towards Los Maples, Vanderpool, up towards Mountain Home, and then further west, Camp Wood is a spot that has seen quite a bit of rain this morning. Camp Wood, Lakey, and Concan. And in fact, I'm going to pause the radar here and let's look at 24-hour rainfall totals. These are estimates, but boy, we're getting some big numbers. Now, this does take into account yesterday a little bit too, because this is over the last 24 hours. But you get the general idea that this is just a ton of rain. 5, 6, maybe 7 inches in some cases. And again, this is the Nueces here, so that's why I was going to watch that. It has shown some rises, but so far we're staying below any sort of flood stage. That is also the case for the Frio. So that's the latest out west. Again, flash flood warnings in effect for several more hours there for those areas being affected by the heavy rain. Now, it does look like we'll see some of that move off to the north and dissipate, but as we get into the afternoon, a few more showers and storms will pop up. And here's the good news. Drier weather heads our way tomorrow. Here's a look at the rainfall totals since July 1st. Boy, these numbers are huge. Close to a foot of rain in Ingram. Lakey about 10.65, 9.64 at Garner State Park. Seguin 9 inches. Kerrville nearly 9 inches. Camp Wood nearly 9 inches. Medina 8.59. The list goes on. Usually when we see these bullseyes of heavy rain, it's a small geographical area. Not so much the case here, as a large portion of the area has seen just a ton of heavy rain. Our forecast here, 30% chance of rain this morning. We'll go 20% chance of rain midday, and then by the afternoon, another 30% chance of rain here in San Antonio. Extended forecast, 96 tomorrow, 95 Thursday. We will get a little moisture thrown perhaps in our direction Friday and Saturday, depending on what unfolds there in the Gulf. And again, we'll be showing you that forecast here in just a little bit. There could be some development there. We could have Dexter on our hands. All right, we'll be right back.
Time right now, 5:55. SA Picks is back, and it's better than ever. Nominations for this year's SA Picks opens at 10 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, so only in a few more hours. We are in search of San Antonio's top businesses, from the restaurants to the dog groomers, as well as the plumbing and air conditioning services. But again, fans can nominate their favorite businesses during the nomination period, again, which runs until August the 1st. After the nominations close, we'll announce the finalists for each category on August 19th.
Okay, finalist voting will open August 20th and end September 12th. You'll be able to vote for each category once per day. Then we're going to announce the winners in late September. Also, be on the lookout for more ways to support local businesses. A special thanks to our SA Picks sponsor, Gomez Law Firm. We have the full list of categories you're going to be able to vote on, available on KSAT.com. Just search for SA Picks.
And again, if you want to stay up to date with all of our news coverage every single day, but aren't sure how, we want to hear from you, okay? KSAT is hosting a town hall later this month at the Santikos Casablanca. We're going to be discussing how to receive all of our KSAT content, signal issues, and then taking questions from the community. That QR code on your screen, you can scan it right now to sign up. This is a free event happening Wednesday, July 23rd from 7 to 8 p.m. And you can find more information on our website at ksat.com.
All right, time right now, 5:56, 79 degrees out there.
We got our coverage of Hill Country floods coming up.
We are live in Kerrville this morning at the Lima Street Bridge, a very popular spot for a lot of folks and family here in Kerrville. We're talking directly with TxDOT about restoration efforts out here in the Hill Country on roads. Also, we're going to look at some wild video of a twisted metal guardrail that was recovered in the aftermath of the flooding. Good morning, San Antonio. We'll be back after this short break.